What's up? It's time for an unbiased gear review. A very, very special unbiased gear review I've been looking very forward to. My new Strandberg Boden Original 8. The specs of this instrument are as follows. We have a chambered swamp ash body with a 4A flamed maple top. We have a 5-piece roasted maple neck with the Endurneck neck profile. A roasted Birdseye maple fretboard with 24 stainless steel frets. A 26.5 by 28 inch scale, multiscale design. Also, new for this year, this model comes standard with Fishman Fluence Modern humbuckers. So first things first, let me give a shout out to Mr. Paul Ryan from the Guitar Center in San Francisco, because I've been after one of these for a while. I was waiting for Guitar Center to officially start carrying them. He went out of his way to make sure that I got this in the color that I wanted. He really went above and beyond, and I just wanted to give a shout out to you, bro. So let's go over this instrument. Now, I can't stress this enough. This is an unbiased review. If this instrument was a hunk of junk, I promise you that I would tell you. However, fair warning, this is going to be an overwhelmingly positive review. I love this instrument. This is something that I've been after for a long time. I played my first Strandberg 5 years ago at the first NAMM convention that I went to in 2014, and I fell in love with that instrument. That, however, was one of the USA Custom Shop instruments. This is one of the I guess you could say the OS line, although it's no longer called the Boden OS line. It is built overseas. This particular one is made in Indonesia. But needless to say, I fell in love with Strandberg guitars several years back. I had to own one. When they introduced the OS line, I knew I would one day own one of those. I'm very, very happy, very thrilled that I finally have one of these. And it is totally living up to every single one of the expectations that I had. Let's go over this instrument. First of all, it is extremely lightweight. The chambering of the body definitely helps that. Me personally, I totally dig how it looks. I totally dig how comfortable it is. All the contours of the body basically allow you to kind of rest it up against you no matter how you play sitting down. It's a very very comfortable ergonomic instrument. The arm cut and the tummy cut are just about perfect for me. The Endurneck profile, let's talk about this, because this is kind of an elephant in the room when you're talking about Strandberg instruments. This Endurneck neck profile, this kind of trapezoidal neck profile that you see on a Strandberg, is a proprietary Strandberg designed feature. It feels extremely comfortable. A lot of people express concern with it because there's some like kind of jagged angles there, like, okay, is it really going to be as comfortable as a C shape or a D shape or a U shaped neck or even a V shaped neck for that matter? Honestly, it's one of the most comfortable necks I've ever felt. Its main purpose with the flat section along the back is it's meant to kind of provide your thumb with the perfect place that it should be sitting so that you've got maximum playability up and down the neck. Would I say that that necessarily achieves its purpose? Yeah, I would definitely say that. I would say that my playing technique is a little bit better on this instrument. I'm not as prone to wrap my thumb around the edge of the board, although I still do it from time to time. But it is what it is. It's meant to facilitate a little bit better technique. So kudos to Ola Strandberg for coming up with that design, because it kind of serves that purpose. The finish on the back of the neck is absolutely fantastic. This is one of the smoothest maple finishes you'll ever find on a guitar, period. I absolutely love it. That was one of the things that drew me to the OS line, because the original Strandberg that I fell in love with had a rosewood neck, and that was one of the reasons why on my Hoppus I had to have a rosewood neck, because oh my god, it feels so good, it sounds so good, etc. With the roasted maple neck here, it feels really good. The fact that it's roasted does lend itself a little bit to the stability of the neck, so hopefully there's not going to be as much tweaking that's needed. You do have 24, well, it says 24 stainless steel frets, but there is a 0 fret up here as well, so call it 25, but whatever, it's stainless steel frets. The fretwork is absolutely fantastic. The crowning is great. There's no dead spots whatsoever to be found on this neck. Run your fingers up and down the edge of the board. It is nice and smooth and perfect. Looking at the fret edges, we see some really nicely rounded off fret edges. This is some fantastic fret dressing right here. The crowning and the dressing are absolutely fantastic on this. And just as a final touch, this fretboard edge is rolled off at a very, very nice angle. It's not something that is a new development for Strandberg, because like Chad has his Boden OS that he got last year, that has a rolled off fretboard too, but this is a little bit more dramatic of a rolled off edge. Something else of note, this guitar also has Lumen lay side dots. And what's really cool about those Lumen lay dots is as you're sitting playing this in the classical position, those dots are a little off center with where they would normally be between the frets. And you're like, well, why is that? That sounds like it would be super weird. And it's so that when you're playing in classical position or even playing standing up and you've got the guitar at an angle, you can look down, see the side dots, and the Multiscale doesn't throw you off. I actually see the benefit of it, and I've experienced the benefit myself even while playing it. So, yeah, it's one of those things you got to get acclimated to, but once you understand why it's like that, it's like, oh, okay, well, kind of wondering why no one else does that on these Multiscale designs. It's pretty cool. When you get down here on the higher frets, when it's at more of a prominent angle in this direction, the dot moves slightly up the neck, whereas up here, you've got some of the dots that at that kind of an angle for the fret, it's slightly more towards you. I don't know. I think it's a nice touch. It's one of those things that it works really, really well. Something else that's a little bit different about this instrument versus its 2016 counterpart is they have redesigned the control cavity, the cover, and the jack as well. The jack is in a really, really nice place, but now, whereas opposed to before, there was like a little sliver of wood right here the jack was sitting on. Now what you've got is you've got a full cavity cover right here that then comes at an angle that the jack sits on. There again, it's something that adds to the ergonomics of this instrument, having a recessed jack in there that's more towards the back of the instrument. It just makes the instrument a little bit more comfortable to play, especially while sitting down. For easy access for the Fishman, you've got the battery compartment right here as well. The neck heel is also super comfy. It's got a nice rounded off edge here, but it's also sunken in just a little bit along this whole portion right here. All in all, this instrument is an absolutely fantastic playing instrument. I mean, the fretwork alone is awe-inspiring, and as it should be on an instrument that costs roughly in the $2,000 to $2,200 range, depending on which dealer you're buying it from. The fretwork ought to be amazing, and this does not disappoint at all. I mean, the stainless steel frets, the crowning is so smooth. I mean, doing bends and vibrato on this thing is just, it's fantastic. It's easily one of my favorite instruments that I've ever owned, mainly because of the playability. But there's also the tone. Let's get into that. So this instrument is a tone machine. There's something weird, some magical voodoo about a Strandberg Boden that I've never ever been able to place. I've never necessarily been able to find an 8-string or even another headless 8-string that quite matches exactly what this thing does. It's really weird. I can't really describe it too accurately. You just have to pick one up and play it for yourself, but it's really weird because the low notes just have this awesome bell-like quality to it. Especially that super low note there. There's a reason why you hear a lot of gent guys talk about this instrument and hold this instrument in such high regard, because that's just kind of what this thing does on its own, regardless of what pickups you have in it. I've played Bodens that have lace humbuckers. I played Bodens that have had Duncans in them, EMGs in them, and now the Fishman Fluence, and they all kind of have this quality. It's just a unique thing about the fact it's an 8-string instrument, it's a chambered hollow body, and it's a headless guitar. All these things, the scale length, all these things just coming together to make an instrument that just has this weird quality to the low notes. That's something that up to this point is kind of exclusive to Strandberg instruments. I'm not saying it for sure is, but I'm just saying in all the extended range guitars that I've tried, this is kind of the only thing that does this. It's really, really awesome, or does it to this extent at least. I got this thing because I want to play absolutely brutal metal on it. So, you know, guys like Beyond Creation, how they switched over to using the Strandberg Bodens, that's super duper cool. That's definitely an inspiration to me to want to get one of these things as well. But that's the kind of thing I want to do on this. I want to play brutal, heavy death metal stuff. God, just playing this thing, feeling the resonance of the body kind of flowing through you as you play it, and hearing those awesome tones coming forth from it, man. That's the whole reason why I really wanted this thing. The playability, the awesome fucking tone. Oh, the pinch harmonics just kind of leap out of this thing. The neck pickup is awesome too. Ooh. Even though it's a 24 fret instrument, the placement of the neck pickup, it's just sounding so rich. It's got just a little bit of that vintage vibe in there. It sounds super good, sounds super fluid. In the hands of a more capable player, I can totally picture this instrument just totally sounding incredible with like fluid legato runs, awesome sweep arpeggios. Someone get one of these to fucking Tony McAlpine, please and thank you. In addition to the tones that I'm getting from this thing right now, it also does have the push-pull knobs on here as well. This push-pull knob goes between voice 1 and voice 2 of the active humbuckers. So pushed in, you get the active voicing. Pulled out, you get more of the passive voicing. Moving on to the other push-pull knob, though, at the tone knob, that is a coil split. It's not the most split sounding coil split I've ever heard in my life, but it is super cool to just still have that other tonal option on here. That's more something that I kind of wish Fishman had done a little bit better with the pickups. I wish it sounded more like a true single coil, but that's more down to the pickups, not necessarily down to the guitar. Overall, I think that this thing just sounds absolutely incredible, though. Even the clean tones, man. As a guy that does not like playing clean tones, honestly, this thing still sounds badass. My final thought, this is now my go-to 8-string. I could not be happier with this instrument. This instrument, there again, depending on which dealer you get it from, is anywhere in the $2,000 to $2,200 range. I say that it is absolutely 100% worth it. And I know that some of you guys out there are like, $2,000 for an Indonesian-made instrument? Hell no. It has nothing to do with where the thing was made. It has everything to do with how awesome the instrument is. Everything about this instrument is made perfectly. The quality control on this, the overall build quality is fantastic. I'm not really finding any issues with this thing whatsoever. The string spacing is great. I know on Chad's, when he first got it, there was a little problem with the bridge that certain strings were a little closer to others. But the string spacing on this is nice and even. The tone is fantastic. You look at the finish. I've looked this finish over the entire thing, and I'm not really finding any issues at all. It's just, it's an extremely damn near perfectly made instrument. I say damn near because I'm sure someone else could find something on this if they were looking over this super hardcore. But I'm enamored. I can't find fault with this guitar. So if you ask me if spending $2,000 on an Indonesian-made instrument is worth it, I say very emphatically, fuck yes. Especially when it's made this goddamn well. And so, what beer am I having today? Well, today I am having from Robinson's Brewery in England. I am having Trooper Hallowed, which is meant to be a Belgian ale, Iron Maiden themed. Pours a copper orange color with a bit of a cream colored head. Has a weird smell to it. Even though I'm pouring it into a glass, it smells metallic. Tastes a little like it too. A little bitter, which is weird considering that it's supposed to be a Belgian-inspired ale. A little malty, a little yeasty. Very metallic flavor to it. Dare I say it, this is not that great. I had really high hopes for this, which is why I ordered it when I did, but this totally does not live up to expectations. I think I would rather have regular Trooper than this, and regular Trooper itself isn't the best beer in the world by a long shot, but even that's much better than this. This is a little bit of a letdown. So that's it for me. Leave a comment in the comments section below. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, many more videos to come. For those of you guys that are going to be at the NAMM show, I will see you there.